So what we did, we have considered a long transmission line, right? Just as a synopsis, I am saying, please everyone be attentive from this points. Now I'll ask questions. Fine. So here, first is we have considered long transmission line and the transmission line constants are parameters, are components. That is your R, L, C, G are uniformly distributed throughout entire length of the line, right? And then we have taken reference as receiving end voltage. From there we made some analysis, means we have determined the voltages and currents at any instant. Once we have considered one instant as x, at that instant we have determined your voltages and currents. By using those equations, we are able to find your sending end voltage and sending end currents, right? So in the R and L are connected in series, so which makes impedance Z, we call line impedance, and conductance and capacitance. And I told you we are using the word capacitive susceptance. Instead of directly using a capacitive reactance, we are using a capacitive susceptance, right? So which makes a shunt admittance, right? So we are considered at a distance x from the receiving end, and we have derived it. I am not going to explain that again. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So just I am showing the final equation. These are the final equations. Yes. Are you able to see the screen? Is the screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now number 2. Number 2. Yes. These are your equations, voltage and current equation. So please everyone do remember this. Simple to remember this equation, no need to get confused here. Simple, just you see V equal to 1 by 2 VR IR ZC. The same term here, but negative, right? And the exponential term positive, and here negative. Similar to your voltages, currents also VR by ZC, because current is nothing but V by Z. So VR by ZC, I'll get you my point here. Because voltage is voltage, we have written here. But voltage in terms of current and impedance we are writing. V equal to IZ. Same way, VR equal to first term VR, negative sign. Voltage in terms of current and impedance, IRZC. Similarly, current equal to voltage by impedance, and receiving end current is IR. The same way, VR by ZC, negative. Means here we have two terms, right? Two components, one positive component, one negative component. Based on this e power gamma x, we have concluded that the voltage and current waves, nothing but the voltage has two components, that is one incident wave and the reflected wave. Similarly, current has incident current wave and reflected current wave. Right? These are the conclusions now. By seeing these equations, you're supposed to draw the conclusions here. Right? This e power gamma positive. So this is your incident wave. E power minus gamma x. That is your reflected wave. Same with your current. Incident, reflected. Means this the component which is present inside the bracket is being affected by your e power gamma x, right? When gamma is positive, when e power gamma x, here x is your distance from your receiving end. As your x is increasing, e power gamma x is increasing, so the first term is increasing, right? Hence, as we are moving from receiving end to sending end, the first term in the voltage equation is increasing, which is the characteristics of your wave. because from receiving end, when you are moving towards sending end, as wave is increasing means, if you see, if you take sending end as a reference, if you see from there, it looks like a wave is propagating. It is originating from sending end and traveling towards receiving end. Right? Same with the current also. Same with your current also. See your current equation. Same e power gamma x. So no need to worry about your term which is in bracket, because the point here is this bracket term is being affected by your exponential factor. This exponential term, right? So same as just now as we discussed for your voltages, current also increases. Yes, when it is traveling from sending end to receiving end, the amplitude is being reducing and phase is also reducing, right? So that is your incident wave. Next is your reflected wave. See, as if you see this second term of your voltage and current, as it is e power minus gamma x. So from this we have concluded that what the wave is starting from, means wave is being decreasing when we move from receiving end to sending end, right? So first term is giving incident wave, that is nothing but wave is decreasing when it is traveling from sending end to receiving end. The second term will give you reflected wave, the wave is being decreasing when it is traveling from receiving end to sending end. And don't get confused here, sending and receiving end, so many times I'm repeating here. The simple point here, right? Just I'm writing the words here also, same thing. These are the important conclusions, that's the reason I'm repeating here. Incident means traveling from sending end to receiving end. Reflected is we need to take reference as receiving end to sending end, right? Because incident it is originating from sending end, reflected is originating from receiving end, that is a point, right? So is that clear, please? Is that clear? Still any doubt? You can
Yes,
make a
sir.
note of this point. Just no? No. So we have seen the equations and everything, and we have discussed all these things. Just I have given you conclusion points. Again, I'm not going into the derivation part because already we did that in the last class. Okay. So because we need to see the other concepts related to this traveling wave. So just before starting that concept, it's like a recap. So this is your diagram. Next is 0 12. This is your diagram. X is 0 12. Where is this? X is 0 12. Right. So in detail, I have made this PDF. This you can go through this. Okay. Fine. Now the terms. So here the important terms. We need to discuss about this important terms. Just as I said, this I want answers from your side. What is this gamma? We are given one name for this. While explaining the derivation part, I said we'll deal with these terms later. I said. So, but I said, what do we call that? What do you call this ZC? What do you call this gamma? Yes, please answer from your side. I am expecting. It's open to all. Anyone can expect answer.
The characteristic impedance.
Yes, please.
Let's
ZC is
Characteristic
characteristic impedance.
very good. Characteristic impedance. Hmm. What about this gamma?
propagation constant.
Very good. Watch a paragraph. Very good. That's right. And that is your propagation constant. Very good. So now we'll deal with these two terms. What do you mean by this propagation constant? What is your characteristic impedance? Okay. Now, I'll share another slide showing that it is there. Now, first we'll see the propagation constant. See the word propagation constant means propagation constant. Please, if you split the term, propagating as well as maintaining constant. It's not exactly, just to split the term. The meaning comes like that. Propagation constant. Something is propagating and it is maintaining constant. Something like that, right? So here, as I said, your propagation constant has two terms, alpha and beta, right? So here the point is your alpha, when we move as the distance, that is nothing but when we are moving from sending end to receiving end, what happens to your alpha? It will change what? In magnitude only. Already we made these conclusions. Alpha will be changing in magnitude. There won't be any change in angle because it is a real term. When you come for your beta, then it maintains magnitude constant, and there will be change in phase angle. That is your beta. Change in phase angle. So from this we can conclude, and one real term is constant. Once real term is referred to magnitude, and imaginary term is referred to the phase angle, right? Means here, as your wave is traveling from sending end to receiving end, and when it is reflecting back, now by what magnitude it is being changing, and what is the phase angle of that wave, that will be given by your propagation constant. Means because when wave is moving, it has some magnitude, it has some phase difference or phase angle, so that concept will be explained by your propagation constant. So this is your propagation constant. Now you can see this, you can have a clear idea now. So here, as I said, gamma is propagation constant, alpha in alpha, as I said just now, there is change in magnitude only. So that's the reason we call this as attenuation constant. There is just change in number. Magnitude will vary. I call it as attenuation constant. Whereas beta, magnitude is constant, but phase is varying. We call it as phase constant or wavelength constant. So here, just for your understanding, I have written the units also. Attenuation constant units is Nepers, and angle phase is radians, right? So propagation constant has two terms, alpha, beta. So alpha is technically called as attenuation constant, as there is change in magnitude only. Another name is we call it as magnitude operator. Whereas beta is called as phase constant or wavelength constant, where magnitude is maintained constant, but there is change in phase. That's the reason we are calling it as what? Rotational operator. This is called magnitude operator. This is called rotational operator. So this is your propagation constant. So propagation constant has two terms. One is attenuation constant, one is phase constant. Right? So this is your propagation constant. Now, coming to this propagation also. Now wave is moving, so we need to know, because the distance traveled by the wave generally we measure in wavelengths or cycles, right? And the speed of that wave, which is nothing but the velocity of propagation. Are you getting my point? Because we made a conclusion that in transmission line the voltage and current waveforms are traveling as waves. When they are traveling as waves, we are supposed to know the length, that is nothing but your wavelength or cycles. And second is, as it has traveled, we need to know about its velocity, at what velocity is traveling. And as I said in your first class, it will travel with the velocity of what? Light. It travels with the speed of light. That is 3 to 10 power 8 meters per second. What is that? We have that constant speed of light. So that will travel with that speed. So just to have the right, that is your the velocity. So just now, if you see here, please focus here. As you know, this all this terms are very familiar terms, because you know wavelength is nothing but on crest and trough make a wavelength, right? Or else the wave, it should undergo a phase shift of 2 pi radians, right? As you know, you are very familiar with these terms. I'm not repeating in that those terms. So wavelength is the distance traveled by the wave, the phase shift of 2 pi radians, and it is denoted by lambda. The wavelength is denoted by lambda, right? So from this I can say, if phase shift per unit distance, suppose if I take the phase shift per unit distance is beta radians, then phase shift for distance lambda will be lambda beta, right? The point is, now what I'm doing, just I'm measuring the phase shift, because for one cycle the phase shift is 2 pi radians, right? So what I'm doing here, per unit, nothing but here 1 per 1 unit, 1 kilometer distance, the phase shift is beta radians. Then if it is traveled a distance of lambda, then distance will be lambda into beta, right? So same thing I'm writing here, lambda into beta is 1 of phase shift of 2 pi radians. So from this, just what is doing is sending beta to denominator. So a lambda, the wavelength will be 2 pi by beta, right? So now what is beta? Yes, please. Beta.
Phase
Phase con.
Very good. Phase constant. See, that is how your terms are related, interlinked. That's why just I made a quick review, right? So lambda is 2 pi by beta meters. So that is your wavelength, because we need to know the wavelength and velocity kada. So when I know the phase constant, so I can measure or I can calculate your wavelength if I know the phase constant, right? So next I need to check your velocity. So velocity, and up to what is velocity? Velocity is distance traveled by time. So here distance traveled is nothing but a wavelength lambda, by time is nothing but 1 by frequency. So directly is using the frequency. This f is your frequency, lambda by t, which is nothing but lambda into f, right? That is your velocity of propagation. Now that velocity of propagation is also called as phase velocity, right? So in this equation I know wavelength. If I know wavelength and if I substitute there, because f is constant, that is a 50 hertz. In India it is 50 hertz. In other countries it is how much, please? What is the frequency
60
they deal
hertz.
with? Very good. Other countries 60 hertz. In India it is 50 hertz. What about voltages, please? Yes,
234
anyone?
volt.
Yes. Other countries? Example, US will take
110 volts.
110.
110. Very good. Very good, ma'am. We should have that. So those who don't know, please listen those who. Yes, okay. 60 hertz and 110 volts. Fine. So now where we are? So we have substituted the lambda because we know wavelength from your propagation constant. I am able to determine my wavelength. So when I substitute here, I'll get a propagation constant as 2 pi beta into f, and we know omega equal to 2 pi f. That is standard donation. That is the angular, right? Omega equal to 2 pi f by beta. So these are the two terms related to your wave. One is wavelength, lambda equal to 2 pi by beta, and velocity of propagation is 2 pi f by beta. Just we need to multiply with your frequency, that's it, or omega by beta, because based on this you may get a small numericals and slip test or as mid exams or final exams. So do remember these equations. And I think nothing difficult, right? So this is about your wavelength and propagation. So just I'll close in the class, just we'll revise it. Okay. So next, what do we have next? Next is this is your numerical value of propagation. Already you know this one, right? Gamma equal to under root zy. So what is that, you know? What is y, you know, right? If you substitute that directly, you can get your gamma. Just to have an idea, I've written that formula. Okay, is it clear? Means just as this is propagation constant, just to know that constant value, we are supposed to know your gamma. Sorry, what is this? Your resistance, inductance, capacitance, and conductance. If you know that those four terms, I can calculate my propagation constant, numerical value of your propagation, that is given by this. So you are supposed to remember these things: one, second equation, voltage equation, and your propagation constant equation, right? And already you know what is it? If he doesn't give these terms, that is your R, L, G, and C, and if he is giving alpha and beta, then what I'm supposed to do? How to find my gamma?
Alpha plus IB.
That's it. Because don't simply remember like that. Try to understand the concept here. Okay. Because sometimes instead of giving your R, L, C, G elements, he will give your attenuation constant and propagation constant. That will be simpler than this formula. But at the time you are supposed to think in that way. Because RLC is not there, so how to get? Don't get confused. We have gamma in terms of attenuation and beta. Hope you are following. Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Veda Vyas.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So those are the two terms related to that, right? Propagation constant over. So what is the next term? Characteristics impedance. So characteristic impedance. See the word characteristics. Characteristics is nothing but its behavior, inherent behavior. Antena? His character and maatladtam. What is his character? Inductor characteristic behavior is like that. It opposes sudden change in current. Capacitor characteristics, it opposes sudden change in voltage. Now our term is characteristics impedance. Now see the impedance, how it is behaving when your wave is traveling in your transmission line, right? So we have a definition. So I have written definition also. Very good, nice. So it will be easy for you. Characteristic impedance is nothing but it is a ratio of line impedance That is the square root of line impedance to the shunt admittance. Right? So it is a ratio of square root of line impedance to the shunt admittance, because on that day while deriving that long transmission line concept, I told you to just keep it in mind. What ZC is nothing but under root Z by Y. Now we'll see that meaning, characteristic impedance, how it is being, what it is doing. Okay, so now the point is, I hope right now just you focus on the cursor point. Simply don't look at the entire slide, you may get confused. You have to scroll out now. Yes, it is right. Now see here, ZC. Oh, here under root is not there, sorry. Here it should be under root. This is under root, please consider it as under root. It is under root Z by Y. So what are the units of Z? Ohms. What are the units of your admittance? Inverse of ohms. We call Siemens. Right? So this two, what happens? 1 by ohms will be ohm square. Square root, under root will get cancelled. So the units of your characteristic impedance is ohms. Right? And don't get confused. Characteristic impedance don't get confused. What we are doing. As a definition, it is under root Z by Y. Fine. Happy. Here the main idea is, as your transmission line has RLCG, right? How they are acting when wave is traveling in the line. Right? When wave is traveling, how they are acting. That will be explained by your characteristic impedance. As a sum of those four elements, we are writing it as characteristic impedance. Characteristic. Whose characteristic? The transmission line characteristics. Parameters. Right? So now, here written here, under root Z by Y. So this S is the total distance. As already you know, the small letters and capital letters. I told you, small letters is per unit length. Capital letters are per entire length. Don't get confused. If you refer any standard textbooks, already I posted that CL Vadwa, right? So if you have any doubt, you can refer that. Okay. So here small letters are per unit length and capital letters are per total length. So that's the reason here. What is doing? Small letter into S. S is the total distance of the line. Yeah, actually we have considered as X. Okay, fine. Nothing happens here. The thing is, we need to multiply that particular impedance and admittance with the total length. So I'll get capital Z by Y. Right. So this is your characteristics impedance. Now, just I want to notice. So I want to answer from your side. Just you notice this equation ZC. What are the terms it has? It has Z and Y. Right? Z is nothing but again resistance and inductive reactance. Y is again conductance and capacitive susceptance. Because we are going to make one important conclusion in this. Let's try to understand the point here. See the ZC, in ZC we have Z and Y. Z as R and L, Y is G and C. What about length of the line? Do we have any length term in your characteristic impedance? Yes, please.
No, sir.
No. So that is an important conclusion. Characteristic impedance is independent of line length. It depends upon Z and Y. That is in terms of R, L, G and C. It is independent of line length. Okay, because based on this equation, the characteristic impedance value, they have given typical values for your characteristic impedance, ZC.
Sir,
That is nothing but, yes, please.
you're saying that characteristics impedance is independent of the length, but it is
Yes.
dependent on inductance and capacitance. As inductance
Yeah.
and capacitance depends on the length, then why can't this characteristics impedance doesn't depend on length?
Your inductance, actually, what is your inductance?
It is
Yes.
magnetic flux linkages around the conductor.
Right. So if you define that, do we have L in inductance formula?
Inductance.
There won't be any length. Similarly with your capacitance. Okay.
In that case, why we differ capacitance and inductance in the manner of length, like a short transmission line, less
That's
capacitance?
you are
That's the
Mr. I want to know your name once. Roll number or name?
Sai Kumar, sir.
Sai Kumar. Did you attended my previous classes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then if you attended, then you are posing a wrong question. So, okay, doubt is doubt, just for your understanding. Just to clear your doubt, I am repeating the point. And the remaining students, please have some patience, okay? Here, Sai, as I said, your transmission line, okay? This is your transmission line, okay? So, in this, physically, you can't see your RLCG. Okay, beta? Are you listening, Sai?
Yes, sir.
Winana. This is a line. So physically we can't say, we can't interpret them, right? But as this line is dealing with your voltage and current, as said, when current is flowing in the line will oppose that current, right? Which is the characteristics of your resistance, right? When current is flowing in the line, it is associated with magnetic flux lines. It is encircled with magnetic flux lines. So by using that, it is a characteristic of your inductance. And we have one more lines or other lines parallel to that line, particular line, because we'll deal with a three-phase system. So all lines are running in parallel. So this separation between your two lines will give the characteristics of my capacitance, right? And last one is your conductance. So the conductance is nothing but leakage over your insulators or the loss due to your corona. So these are your RLCG. So here I haven't said anything about the line length.
Yes, sir. I got this point previously, but I am saying that if the line length increases, this affects also increases more and more.
Line
So
definitely
it
up.
indirectly
Definitely
affects the impedance of the system.
correct. Impedance annapre, it is nothing but your opposition, right?
Yes, sir.
Impedance is nothing but opposition. So definitely, and as I said, your long transmissional lines are sum of smaller sections of your RLCG. I said like this, right? So definitely
Yes,
at
sir.
point to point, due to presence of this RLCG, there will be change in your V and I. Definitely there will be there. So how this is behaving, this entire term, we are naming it as characteristics impedance.
Yes, sir.
Is that clear, Sai?
Yes, sir.
Right? So with respect to length, it won't change endukante if you derive that equation, I got the terms where I don't have any length. Yes, please. Other someone. Yes, please. Someone has unmuted their mic. Nana, someone. Who is that? Please. Who is that? Mistakenly it happened. Okay, fine. But don't repeat this. It is okay. Fine. Sure. Okay. Where we are? Yes. Sai Kumar.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
So that is the meaning of characteristic impedance, Nana. So దీన్ని particularly will write it is a ratio of z by y అన్నప్పుడు. So when I simplify that, it is in we don't have any length term in this. So based on this, we are saying it is characteristic impedance is independent of line length. కాబట్టి what that it is, because for three-phase system and for single-phase system, whatever the system, they will use standard conductors with standard radius and the spacing between them. Right? By doing so, they have derived, means they have determined some values. We call that as typical values of characteristic impedance. So that also I have written here, just because you got it out. So just for your sake, I'll show this. This is the point. Typical values of this, because surge impedance is also meaning the same, but slight difference about there is slight difference in your surge and characteristic impedance. Let it be. So based on, means the thing as it is independent of length, right? By using standard conductors, that is the standard radius and spacing between the conductors, we have derived this, means we have determined the values for overhead lines. Is everyone, this is common to everyone. For overhead lines, your impedance will be 400 ohms to 600 ohms, irrespective of the length, whether it is short, medium, long. Similarly, for underground cables, it is 40 to 60 ohms. Right? So, as it is independent of length, but we know the standard radius and spacing between the conductors. Based on those, because we are not deriving here directly, just we are using those values. So we call this as typical values. Because based on this, there are important questions, means important bit in your gate also. What they will do is, he will change the distance. For 80 kilometers distance, the characteristic impedance is 200. For 100 kilometers distance, what is the characteristic impedance? What will be your answer?
Same.
Same, because it is independent of line length. Sai, is that clear? Sai Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Right? So shall we move on? So next, if I find inverse, because you already know, if I find inverse of ZC is nothing but your YC, because inverse of impedance is your admittance. Right? So as you know, 1 by ZC, you know this, it will be YZ, capital YZ. So please do differentiate between capital and small letters. Okay. So this is your impedance offered to the propagation of, say, this for final also there is a point. That is the impedance offered to the propagation of voltage or current wave during its travel along the line. Right? So with this is your characteristic impedance. Right? So now I will put one small question. I think everyone can answer. It's a very simple question. Now I have ZC, right? Characteristic impedance. So in this characteristic impedance, if I consider your R, sorry, better I'll write it. If I consider your resistance 0 and your conductance 0. What I'm doing? I'm considering my resistance and conductance of the line is 0. Resistance and conductance is 0 ante it is nothing but a lossless line, right? Because you're due to resistance you'll be having heat loss. As resistance is 0, there is no loss. The conductance is 0 means there is no leakage over your, through your insulators. So what we can call this as lossless line. So when I consider, because these are ideal cases, not practically, because when conductor is there, default resistance will be there, and insulators are meant to make a path for the flow of leakage currents. So these are ideal cases, right? These are ideal cases, not practically. We can't say this thing, okay? So just I'm assuming this. What if resistance is 0 and your capacitance if resistance 0, conductance 0, that is your lossless line. If I consider a lossless line, so what about my ZC? What about my
Under root
ZC?
L by C.
Very good. ZC will be just under, it's just under root L by C. Means we don't have any losses. So this is my ZC, right? Oh, sorry, quite difficult to write with this, but I'm trying. So just hope you understood this, what I mean to say. So which is nothing but under root L by C. Right? So now the lossless line as a ratio of under root Z by C, then that impedance I'll name it as surge impedance. We call it as surge impedance. So how do you can define surge impedance? Surge impedance is nothing but a characteristic impedance for a lossless line. Means we don't have resistance and conductance. So please do remember these terms. Don't get confused. Characteristic impedance is RLCG. Surge impedance is only L and C. See here, I have written for you. For better understanding, you can see the statement. Statement and formula directly you can see. At denotation, we denote with Z0. Just to differentiate it, we denote with Z0. And most often, they will use Z0 and ZC as same term. If you refer standard textbooks, some textbooks they'll use ZC and Z0 often. Means in place of ZC they'll write Z0, in place of Z0 they'll write ZC, because it again that Z0 is sum of Z by Y, but for a lossless line we are considering R and G will be 0, right? So that is your surge impedance. So surge impedance, just to define that, we can say surge impedance, a characteristic impedance of a lossless line is the definition. You can define it if anyone asks. Fine. And denote with Z0. Now here, just we will try to evaluate this Z0. Z0 formula is under root L by C. Okay. Now to evaluate this for your transmission line, what we are supposed to do is we need to open circuit the receiving end and we need to short circuit the receiving end. Hence, at a time, first we need to open circuit it and we need to find the generalized constants, and then we need to short circuit it and we need to find the generalized constants, right? As we did for your medium lines, for studying your medium lines, what we did, we made analysis that the performance of line can be determined by determining the generalized constants, that is by considering the transmission line as two-port network, right? We are considering the transmission line as two-port network as it has got sending and receiving voltages, right? By using the two-port network, we are writing the equations, sending and voltage, sending and currents in terms of receiving and voltage and receiving and current, right? Later what we'll do, we'll open circuit the receiving end one time and we'll find the factors, and then later we'll short circuit the receiving end and we'll find the remaining factors or remaining terms, right? So same thing is doing. See here, from your two-port network equation already you know that equation. So just if you want, I will write that, or else it's not a compulsory. Just those who want, you can check here. Vs is equal to AVR plus DIR. Is is equal to CVR plus DIR. And this concept already you know. When IR is 0, means these two terms will go. So I left with what? Only Vs equal to AVR, Is equal to CVR, right? If I take the ratio of Vs and Is, what I'll get? What is V by I ratio? Impedance, right? IR is 0 means what do you mean by that? It is nothing but open circuit. So now I can write the Vs by S ratio, which is nothing but AVR by CVR. VR get cancelled, right? And I can give a name for that. That is open circuit admittance, impedance. This is open circuit impedance, right? Similarly, if I short circuit the receiving end, what I'll get? A short circuit that I should write VR equal to 0. So when VR equal to 0, I'll get a terms Vs equal to BIR, Is equal to DIR. So again, if I take the ratio Vs by Is, but this ratio is under short circuit condition. So just we are naming it as short circuit impedance. And the ratio BIR by DIR, IR will get cancelled. I left with B by D. Is that clear? That is just simple math here. We are not doing any technical thing, not deeper one. So what I'm doing now, next step, just I'm taking a product of ZOC and ZSC. ZOC is open circuit impedance, ZSC is short circuit impedance. So when I multiply them, I'll get A by C by V by D. And you know from the relation, what is that? A is equal to D, right? Because for a transmission line, what is that? A is equal to D. So just I'm replacing D with A. So when A and A will get cancelled, I left with B by C. Is that clear? What I did, just I have found your ZOC, ZSC, and after finding it, I'm simplifying it, multiplying them. When I multiply ZOC into ZSC, I'll get B by C. So that is a point. Now, what is B and what is C? From your transmission line concept, just you need to write your B and C values. If you remember, okay, because almost it will be same. So if I write your B and C values, B is under root, because already we have derived this. So final answers I'm writing. B is under root Z by Y sin H this. C is under root Y by Z sin H. So when I substitute this, I'll get final as Z by Y. What is Z by Y? It is nothing but your ZO square or ZC square. ZO or ZC. So what you'll get? The surge impedance means the surge impedance is nothing but it is a ratio of under root Z by Y, and it's a ratio of under root Y L by C, or it is a product of square root of ZOC by ZSC. Means the surge impedance can be defined like this. You can define in many ways. One is by Z by Y, another is by L and C, and the another is by open circuit impedance and short circuit impedance. That is nothing but square root, all the three terms under root. So it's already 10:30. So you have another class. So if you have any doubts so far, please ask me. This doubt session is open to all. Anyone can pose your doubt related to the concept so far what you have discussed. If you have any doubts, options already know. You can ask me right now, or you can WhatsApp me, or you can call me. That is up to you. You select your option. If you are asking any doubt right now, you ask me, or else give your attendance in the chat box and leave. Now wait for some time. If no one is asking doubt, I'll terminate the session. Yes, please. చెప్పండి అన్న, డౌట్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే చెప్పండి, లేదంటే గివ్ యువర్ అటెండెన్స్ అండ్ లీవ్.
Sir, is this PDF available in the LMS?
LMS లో పోస్ట్ చేస్తున్నా కదా.
Okay,
This one I will post now, or else
Okay, sir.
1 second. Rasagna is there na, your classmate?
Yes, sir.
Just I'm posting to Rasagna right now. I'll tell Rasagna. She left, it seems. అన్నా ఇది పీడిఎఫ్ పోస్ట్ చేస్తున్నా, నువ్వు గ్రూప్లో పెట్టే తల్లి. అంటే ప్రతిసారి అనుకుంటున్నా ఏదో డిలే అవుతుంది, ఏదో వర్క్ వల్ల గుర్తుండట్లేదు. మీ క్లాస్ వచ్చినప్పుడే మళ్ళీ గుర్తుకొస్తుంది తప్ప. సో పీడిఎఫ్ ఎక్కడ ఉంది, అటాచ్